Welcome to a quick dip featuring whatever that is.
Mark's hair.
You do the thing where you bow. You know?
And Emily. Yeah.
The
But
cap.
the floppy hat dropped. Anyways, the
Blurb
voted
record.
on top 5 supports of all time. Emily, drumroll.
All right. So in number 5, Lemonnation. Number 4,
Lemon knob.
Biofrost. Number 3, Vulcan. Number 2, Aphromoo. And number 1, CoreJJ.
Ding, 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 ding.
Fun
Thoughts,
fact.
Mark?
Ding, ding, ding. I
This-
gotta say, surprising list a little bit.
This was the closest between 1 and 2 of every position.
Mm-hmm.
I can spoil that. There's only 15 points separating Core in first and Afro in second.
And I expect this one to get a ton of reactions when it gets released in the Reddit thread about arguing about number 1.
Yeah.
Because I feel very strongly it should be Aphromoo, personally. I don't know if anyone on the desk here disagreed.
I mean, yeah, just because remember, this is the 10-year award for the whole length of the LCS.
Yeah.
This man has been playing the entire time,
12 years of League of Legends.
even
Yeah.
predates the LCS.
Yes.
Yeah.
And has had a huge impact throughout the course of his career. I mean, he is part of the Rush Hour most infamous, most lauded duo ever, on top of even still this split, split, getting accolades at the support position. So yeah, I also was surprised when I saw this, and I was like, a lot of people are indexing not even on just recency bias, but like the specific back-to-back finals for Team Liquid year. Like that's where this CoreJJ legend really built.
The weird thing is, Ole was the support for
the first two.
Yeah, for the first 2. So he's only had the other 2. I'll spoil my own list because I did put Afro first. I think the biggest accolade I can give Afro is that at one point, Jat and I were statistically trying to see if there was a demonstrable improvement from when Afro joins a lower tier team or mid tier team, and how he boosts up his AD carry and the team to success. Because there were a few years where Afro would just join a team with a rookie AD carry like Johnson, and then suddenly everyone would be talking about that AD carry. Stixxay was a super unpopular pickup for CLG when they let go of Double Lift, and he and Afro became one of the most lauded bot lanes, went on to go to MSI finals that year. Afro is such a valuable player and a valuable teammate.
I mean, it's not just with him either. It's Cody Sun became a star with him. Johnson has not become a star, but became very good when he came out. Neo had his best split by far when it was Afro supporting him. He has helped elevate so many AD carries game, plus the longevity.
And remember at MSI, so we're talking about international performances where you're representing the LCS, I think should for sure be included. I know that was a little side debate or conversation that went on, but international events where you're representing a different region, fine, don't include those. But when he went with CLG and made finals, let me remind you, they not only made finals, he literally set the support meta.
Yeah.
Yep.
He actually set the support meta, and T1 is conforming to the CL. That is to me the biggest influence that actually North America ever had on
Meta-wise,
international play. You brought up a really good point previously of the TSM year. I forget which year it was, but when TSM was at Worlds and all the rumors from scrims were coming back. 2016, they were beating so many teams. This also, the CLG, when they got to finals at MSI, Aphromoo was literally running the meta and everyone was trying to catch up to us.
Yeah.
That feeling, I was like, holy crap. So I actually think it's just crazy that Aphromoo is not number 1, especially considering it is a it's 10 years list. It's actually kind of mind blowing. I feel like a lot of the votes were lazy.
I also think when we talk about impact, we talked about how no one's catching him statistically. Afro is in that category where it's just thousands upon thousands of better stats than anyone else in the support position. And so for me, it's him hands down. The argument for CoreJJ, if I was going to make it for the people who put him number 1, is that he's had the highest peak of any North American support player and maybe any North American player ever. some of that happened when he was winning the world championship or whatnot. But those first couple splits when he joined North America, it was like God came to North America. And in that sense, you could say that he has had some of the best, not just support splits, but splits ever. And I can't disagree with that. I understand like the mountain peak that he has set, but it, you know, started in 2019. As insane as he is individually, he doesn't have like the most accolades even in that time period.
That was crazy.
Vulcan has more accolades in that time period. It's 3 titles, of course, too, you know, so.
Yeah, especially considering, it was only the second 2 of those Team Liquid finals. That's crazy to me.
A fun statistic, just piggybacking off of something Mark said, when I was looking up to like write Aphro's blurb, he has, of all LCS players since 2014, he has the most assists at 4,409. The next closest player is Impact, and he is 1,136 assists behind him.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It's like jaw dropping. And like again about the point about these guys are still going. Like Aphro's not really slowing down. Like he hasn't joined a top team. A lot of the teams he cycled through since leaving 100 Thieves have not been like talent laden rosters.
Yeah. I think the only argument is the one that you gave of like the peak split. Because CoreJJ did have the stronger peak split where he actually just dominated the league. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from. It's funny that all of our conversation is around the top 1, 2. What about the rest of the list?
So Emily, you said it was Xpecial, Bio, and then Vulcan, right?
No, it is Core, Aphro, Vulcan in 3rd, Bio 4th, Lemon 5th.
Lemon 5th. Wow, Xpecial with the snub.
See, I think I actually agree with it because I think you're including a lot of Xpecial pre-LCS.
Maybe. I mean, he was a part of them until 2015 summer when he joined Curse. And while I know we were not incredible,
that's where the
we still got first in regular season in summer 2015. We got 3rd place a handful of times, and during that time period Lemonnation was not like smurfing anymore. C9 fell off in 2015 and had to have that insane gauntlet run where they upset us. Fair enough, but like he actually had a relatively short-lived career. During that time, it's very much the same argument about how all of that C9 roster just redefined what North American League of Legends was. And he did some, I hated scrimming him. He would like abuse vision so hard, and you would have no idea if he's roaming or if he's just sitting in lane with a Morgana binding ready to like screw you over. Like I don't dispute the peak at all, but it is that argument that we're talking about like how much you give to founding something versus consistency.
It's tough. I put Lemon in 5th over Xpecial, and a lot of it was because of that like early impact he had. Also, like it sounds so stupid to say this in 2022, but just the idea that he had a notebook and they were planning draft and he was essentially doing the coaching is so like you think about it now, and it's so cursed to think that teams weren't prepping drafts. But like
flashbacks for me, I hate it.
It's so like the fact that he forced teams to actually think about stuff like that, I think is really important. It would have happened eventually, but you know, Lemon was the player who was that smart about the game that he like forced you to have to Mark's point, he hated scrimming against him because his understanding of vision and the fact that he actually helped lead the team and essentially coach them.
That was my sole reasoning for it.
That's a good point.
For switching him, because it was this kind of like structural change. Again, I'm looking at these big impacts that players had, like the Aphromoo on an international meta of an international tournament. Like that to me is bigger accolade than a lot of these like, you know, championships and stuff like that. And Lemonnation changing how players approach the game as well was a pretty big one. Yeah.
I think it's a good debate. Biofrost sneaking in there at 4, I think feels right. He gets slept on a little bit, but like you talk about those years of TSM dominance, like he was there. Yeah, he was doing that.
I think what nailed that one down for me, and I was like, all right, I feel really good about this, is that when he came back, even on Dig, like he was really good, and people were like, oh my god, everyone is telling me from solo queue, they're like, I was like, what about Bio coming back? And they're like, don't worry about it. It's not looking that good in solo queue. You know, I stomped him the other day or whatever. But then he comes in and he's actually still really good. That for me, I was like, okay, good, I'll submit.
Yeah, I think him coming on to TSM at that time, like people think about it now because that 2016 summer team, as we've already talked about, was like so lauded by people outside of NA. But him coming onto the team was like a very shaky, like, I don't know about this because they had tried the veteran support coming in with Yellowstar. That did not work at all. The Yellowstar double if bot lane was not a success, even when they did make it to finals. And so a lot of people were ragging on Bio when he first came in, and they were just like, yeah, he's just going to do whatever double if says, and he doesn't have any of his own skill. And I think he definitely proved people wrong in that regard.
Yeah, there was a whole boot camp situation too. I think it was Ignar who was trying out at the time, if I remember correctly. There was a big tryout for Biofrost to earn that spot, so it was a really cool like come up story.
Yeah.
The other thing that's really interesting about this list is all of the top 4 are still active.
Yeah.
So not only are there some sick matchups coming up this weekend, but like in theory, this could be repositioned actively as these splits go on. You know, we talk about Impact being untouchable and, you know, Smithy being temporarily untouchable and some of this stuff, you know, like this feels like a list where things could get jostled around. Like Vulcan could fly up this ranking.
I was going to say, we didn't talk about Vulcan much, but I think that he is the one that on this list is going to do the most climbing, especially if you snapshot right now and how Team Liquid, how CoreJJ is playing right now, and how Vulcan is on a course right now to pass CoreJJ. And so that I think Aphromoo already, you know, should be right above, but that could be the most movement.
Yeah, Vulcan, what he does with the remainder of his career is really interesting. I also think the coolest thing about Vulcan is we talk so much about players leaving the infrastructure that they came up on. So like obviously Vulcan came up on Clutch technically, who have a lot of the same coaching staff and analysts as EG now, actually, for people that didn't know that. It's
funny. I called EG Clutch last weekend, and then a fan, actually someone who calls into the dive a lot, Shauna Tonin, was like, oh, I wonder why they're Clutch, and like had these pictures of all of these current EG employees that were on Clutch, and the list is like 6 or 7 names long, including him.
But I think the most impressive thing is like on C9, and Blabber has talked about this too, where like when you're surrounded by an org that gives you that much support, going to a different team can sometimes be tough. And I think EG obviously has given him the support, right? And he's familiar with the staff, but he was also tasked with helping bring up Danny in a way, because Danny's weakest point was like his laning phase. And obviously you can kind of maybe rip them apart for some of the deaths in lane at MSI or during spring playoffs, but I don't think you can deny that their 2v2 lane has improved a lot. And he's helped in that regard, like so much with this team. And I think that's another really cool thing to look at.
Absolutely. We'll have to see if Vulcan can actually climb up the rankings. Is there anything else you want to say before we call out some of the matchups between these guys? Okay, no. Team Liquid versus FlyQuest. 1 versus 2, baby, on Saturday. Aphro versus CoreJJ. Maybe Aphro can get revenge for getting surpassed by CoreJJ on the list. We also have EG versus TL, so Vulcan versus Core, about that thing that you were just talking about. Biofrost doesn't have any super hype matchups himself, unfortunately, this weekend against other people on the list, but number 4 still competing as well. Like, it's an insane thing to think about.
Yeah, I think it's super cool because, I mean, especially a lot of the conversation right now, too. Team Liquid is dipping. CoreJJ is personally dipping right now. So it could be an opportunity for... Because I think we all 3 of us were pretty strong Aphromoo to be first. It could actually be an opportunity for the CoreJJ voters to be like, see, and have them like individually stomp them. And look for 2v2 lane kills and stuff like that.
Oh, the last time someone called out Aphro for having like old man hands, he and Johnson.
Clap, clap.
True. All right, well, that's going to do it for this discussion of the top 5 supports. If you like this little segment, make sure to leave a comment, say you want more for the other ones. That was a little weird salute.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you later.